play. What they're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here. Let's go now. A little life out here. Let's have a little life out here.
What it do, Packer fans? Welcome to the inaugural episode of Ahead of the Pack. I'm your host, Camille Davis. Joining me, Monty Moore, Dan Kotnick. Now, if you are a Pack-A-Day listener, you might know us as the Marvelous Monday crew from the audio side of things. And we are now here on Cheesehead TV with this podcast. A chance to talk Packers more than once a week with two of my favorite guys to talk Packers with. So I'm excited for us to be here on Cheesehead TV doing this. We kind of have like post games on Pack-A-Day, but kind of like team previews here on Cheesehead TV. So this should be fun. I'm excited. How are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling great. This is, the season is here now, right? As we're recording this, the season kicks off tomorrow with the Eagles Cowboys, and it seems like not too long ago we were, saying, man, I can't believe we're in the doldrums of the off season and the season's so far away, and now it's here. So I'm ready.
Yeah, I literally, as I took like a half day at work today, and as I had like just moments of, time, like I'm not even thinking about anything, I found myself drifting to Lambeau, and I'm like, I get like these like waves of like warm like butterflies, and I'm like, it's gonna happen soon. Like it's gonna happen. Like I'm gonna be there,
I was
and
gonna say, yeah, you're going, right?
right, I'll
Yeah.
be there. I'll be there. And Micah Parsons is gonna run out of the tunnel. And I can't even believe it.
Yeah, and even Jordan Love was asked like who should come out last, offense or defense, and he was like, it's got to be defense. Like,
Yeah.
Micah has to have
He
that moment.
clearly listened to Monday's episode of Pack-A-Day.
Had to. That's must listen to. Like, what you talking about? Must listen to. But no, we're gonna kick this episode off with the opening drive where we kind of talk about what we think are the biggest storylines heading into the week's matchup. And this week, of course, week 1 of the NFL season. We finally made it through the offseason, and the Packers finally open up at home under Matt LaFleur, which has been a thing of in itself. So being able to do that against Detroit sets the stage for something big. So Dan, let's start with you. What's the biggest storyline that you think of heading into week 1, Lions, Packers at Lambeau Field?
I mean, there's a lot. And we're gonna get into a lot of it. For me personally, this is a personal matchup week 1. I'm from the Metro Detroit area. I live in the Metro Detroit area. I am ready to get back to the way things used to be when we beat the Lions at Lambeau.
Mm-hmm.
I take you back to a bygone era where a simpler America, where the Lions sucked and the Packers were good, and the Packers would come to Lambeau and they'd get curb stomped, and that would be it. And there was harmony and peace in the world, butterflies, rainbows,
I remember it
everything
well.
like that.
Man.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And now we live in the dark days where all of a sudden Lions players come up here and treat Lambeau. They call Lambeau Ford Field North. That's unacceptable. And so yeah, I think it's pretty fitting that in the Matt LaFleur era, where this has become the thing against the Lions, his first time opening up the season at home in week 1 is against the Lions, and they can make a strong statement to say, welcome back to reality.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers are back. Like whatever was happening the last couple of years where you guys thought things were kind of going on. No. It's back. We're back.
Yeah, I mean, Lions have been kings of the North for the last 2
Yeah.
years here, which is so weird to even say out loud, but the Lions have gotten the better of the Packers over the last couple of years. 6 of the 7 last matchups, they've won 3 straight at Lambeau, which again, when you think about Detroit doing that to the Packers, it feels unheard of. It feels like it's time to really make that step of like being better in the division. Like Packers were 1-5 in the division last year. So you get to start your season off in a place now against the Lions where you're gonna have an opportunity to come at a team that, yes, they lost coordinators on both sides of the ball. They lost interior offensive linemen. They lost some players there, and there's some questions about the Lions. But prior to that Micah Parsons trade, they were still seen like as the team to beat in the North. Now, the calculus has changed a little bit, but the North, they're still the reigning defending champs of this division. So, like, there's level of respect. And the Packers could really make a statement week 1 if they come out strong against Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, and overall, just the one game that the Packers have won obviously was that great Thanksgiving game in 2023. But you said it, you touched on it, like them losing, a player like Frank Ragnow is so big for this, in this matchup. Like overall, he was, easily one of their best linemen. And, Detroit, they built their team, the way the Packers like to. Like they built it from the trenches, right? And obviously it helps that they were bad for so long. They got so many high picks. Like we know how many high draft picks they have on their offensive line. But yeah, I mean, these matchups have for the most part been pretty close. A lot of these were, the signature, the Packers fall behind a bunch early and then start clawing back, which is the most frustrating way to watch a game as a fan, right? Like you're down in the dumps and upset, and they just give you just enough that they're coming back, and then they can't pull it off at the end. But yeah, I mean, it like you guys have both said, this is going to be a tone setter of a game.
Yeah, it is. And Monty, since you were already going, like, what's the storyline for you that you're looking forward to in this matchup against the Lions?
So for me, it's honestly it's pretty glaringly obvious from like when I was looking at this, what I'm going to look for is because if there's one complaint, fans have had over the last 5 or 6 seasons, however long you want to go back, is that the Packers aren't a physical enough team, right? Every time we go up against the quote unquote tough physical team, they get beat, they get outplayed. And they've tried very hard to change that tone this year. We know signing a guy like Aaron Banks, who's just a mauler on the offensive line. They're a more physical defense now with with Edrin Cooper emerging. He had a great rookie season, but he's one of their most explosive players. Xavier McKinney, obviously. They have a really tough running game now with Josh Jacobs. Like they have built their team to go up against these quote unquote physical teams in the league. And we're going to see it right away. I mean, if there's one thing that you were going to call, if there's one word you're going to use to describe the Lions, it's that they're physical. And sometimes people think that means, a team that runs the ball well. Sometimes people think it means, a team that, they play really good defense. But when in terms of the Lions, they're just relentless. Like they don't let up. So we're going to know, it's going to be one of those games where you guys know how sometimes you're watching a game and you can kind of tell how the game's going to go after like the first 3 drives. Like I feel like it's going to be one of those, like this new attitude. Obviously Micah Parsons is a huge part of that, right? With however much he's going to play, but we're going to see right from the jump game 1 if this is a more physical team than we've seen.
Yeah, we definitely are. And I think with this Lions team, they take on the personality of Dan Campbell. Like that is him through and through. And I hated the Hard Knock season with the Lions. Like, dang, he's likable. Like, and I hate that Dan Campbell is so likable because it's like I would run through a wall for you too, the way that you get these guys ready to play. But they take on that personality. We know for the Lions, it's not a 3-down situation on offense. It's a 4-down situation on offense for the Lions. Like, they are going to try to push the pace, out physical you on so many different levels consistently. And that's part of why, like, them losing Frank in the middle and everything like that for the offensive line. It's like for the Packers to get Micah Parsons, you had to lose Kenny Clark. So you have questions as well on your interior defensive line, just like the Lions now have questions on their interior offensive line. So I do wonder too, with the physicality and like in the trenches of this game, how does it shake out for these two teams? Because I don't know how much Micah Parsons is going to be playing in this game. It's the return of Hutchinson as well for the Lions, who is coming back off of injury. And maybe this is the right time to be playing the Detroit Lions if you're going to play them. Like, it's hard to have a divisional game week 1. But if you are,
I hate them.
It's an important game right off the bat. Like, they're all important. You only get 17, but a divisional game carries some additional stakes to it.
Yeah,
But
I mean, if you're
maybe this is the right time to play him.
Yep, that's a great point because for all as much as we respect Dan Campbell, like he's obviously turned the entire culture around in Detroit. I mean, we're gonna see whether or not was he a product of having Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, two phenomenal coordinators who are now head coaches, right? I mean, Dan Campbell, he doesn't call any plays. He doesn't call plays on either side of the ball, so their new offensive defensive coordinator hires better pan out because that's the identity of their team essentially. He's a great leader, but he's not a play caller. So you're catching this team their first game with new coordinators before they get into the flow of a game, the way they game plan and all that. So if you have to play a divisional opponent and a tough one out the gate, it makes you're catching them at the right time. And just to add to what you said earlier, that's one of the reasons this team is so frustrating to play, right? Because if you get them in a 3rd and 12 and you stop them and it's 4th and 2, you haven't won the down. Like they're going to go for it if it's basically anything less than 4th and 5, it seems like. And I personally, you barely even get excited with these last couple seasons with the Packers pass rush when they've been in 3rd and long. Obviously, it's different now with Micah Parsons, but you just know, yeah, if you stop them short, there's no reason for them not to go for it. And I think in the game, I don't know if it was the game at Lambeau or the one at Detroit. I don't remember which one, but they scored like 3 touchdowns on 4th down against the Packers. I think it was the game at Lambeau.
I think so.
Year. So, I mean, like those are high variance plays, right? Those are game changing decisions, and they were cashing in on all of them, and that made all the difference. So you definitely have to, it's not even play to the sticks. Like you have to get them 8 yards short of the sticks if you want them to punt the ball to you.
Yeah. I mean, I think this all kind of goes back to you talk about the culture in Detroit. This Micah Parsons thing, it's all about the culture in Green Bay.
Talk about
it. We got a chance to talk to Mike Daniels a couple of years ago. He had some harsh criticisms about the front office and the Matt LaFleur kind of, so I know he wasn't around here, but for that, but I mean, like really just the whole culture around Green Bay of, they've gotten kind of this hubris, and now like they've been knocked down. And we've talked about this on Pack-A-Day a couple times, like the Xavier McKinney's coming in and saying, we've decided to be here. We've chosen to be here. We weren't drafted here, and we're the 5-10 year veteran here that's just getting the contracts and sticking around. We've decided to be here. We're bringing this new juice. Everyone else needs to play up to our level. That was with Xavier McKinney last year. Now Micah Parsons has worked his way over here. I know it was a trade, but let's be honest, it was basically a high-end free agency move. So I think this is going to really show what kind of culture is getting built in Green Bay now.
I love that aspect of thinking of the culture being built, which leads into my storyline, which is around turnovers and takeaways. Because as we mentioned, when we played the Lions last year, the Packers would fall behind early. You would lose the turnover battle. And it's just kind of like, okay, well, it's going to be hard to win. Like even with the last ditch efforts, it's hard to win games when you lose those turnover battles. Yep. But this is also a Packers team that last year, look at that defense and how they came out the gate with the interceptions. We heard this offseason, Jeff Hafley talking about like the interceptions were cool. We want to keep doing that for sure. For sure. That's part of the gig. We love that for the defense, but we want to force more takeaways as well through fumbles. We want to force more fumbles, more active hands, more punching at the ball, that other level of physicality to the game. Like that's been a point of emphasis all offseason. Are the Packers going to be able to force their will on the Lions? Are they going to be able to turn them over, not just through the air from interceptions, if Jared Goff goes that way? Because We know Goff can throw them in bunches when he does throw them. And I am curious as well to see how he holds up with his new offensive line. But I think the turnovers is a big thing I'm looking for, of like who can play the cleanest game in this one. Because the story of the defense was the turnovers and the improvement that they made, because they were 4th in takeaways last year, 5th in yards per game, 6th in points allowed for the Packers defense. Like, what steps can you take this year with Micah Parsons on the roster now?
Yeah, I mean, you're taking a top 10 defense by most metrics and adding probably one of the top 5 defensive players in the league, regardless of position. Probably top 10 player overall, regardless of position, right? So I think this is a unique season in that it's such a big season for so many players, on offense, especially. Like, obviously, it's a big season for Jordan Love because we know he was hurt all last year. It's a big season for a lot of these receivers because we know they're not keeping all of them. So there's probably 4 guys fighting for 2 spots realistically, right? When it comes to extensions. But like, when's the last time that you could say that you were more excited to watch the defense than you were the offense in Green Bay? And like, there's so much. This was even before the Micah Parsons trade that we're excited for this year 2 Jeff Hafley defense. We're excited to see Edrin Cooper again. We're excited to see Xavier McKinney, right? Nate Hobbs. Now, we don't know if he's going to play Sunday or not, but Nate Hobbs added to this team. So you were excited even before last Thursday when the Micah Parsons news broke. So this is really going to be a matter of, is this a team where the defense is the one that sets the tone in most of these games? And if that's the case, that's great, because we all have faith in the offense. Like, I feel like in Green Bay, we're always confident in the offense. We got the quarterback, they give him weapons. But now it's, hey, if we don't need to score 25 points a game, hopefully, because like I said, you're taking a top 10 defense and adding an absolute game wrecker on the defensive line.
Yeah. The last time I was this excited about a Packers defense was
when
2009, 2010.
Yeah.
When it was
those first
Charles
Dom
Woodson and
Capers
Clay
years.
Matthews.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So that was still a really good offense. And
yep.
It's crazy to think about this in hindsight, but like, that was still before we all kind of like really knew what Aaron Rodgers was at quarterback.
Yeah. It was only his second year as a starter.
You're starting. Yeah.
Right. So like, you can kind of make like the argument. I'm not saying that Jordan Love is anywhere close to what Aaron Rodgers is, but like, it's still that same unknown kind of at quarterback. We haven't really seen the ceiling of Jordan Love yet. So we kind of know what to expect out of the offense because we have an offensive minded coach, right? But man, that defense just looks so fun. It's like it's a sports car, man.
Yeah.
It is. And it's crazy that we're almost 20 minutes into this episode, have not uttered the words Matthew Golden not one time yet at this point.
Yeah.
And very excited to see him get out there on the field too. I think that he is somebody who is going to have a lot of opportunity. It sounds like Jordan Love, he even mentioned, like, I'm trying to get him as many targets as I possibly can because the hands speak for themselves. So like, even though that defense is like the sports car and is something that everyone's going to be looking forward to seeing, the offense should still be pretty good, which again is why the Packers are seen as a team that can compete for a Super Bowl this year, because both sides of the ball, like, you can point to some weaknesses for sure, but they have a lot of strengths at a lot of different positions on this team. So there's
a lot of firepower in this game on both sides. I mean, like, again, like, the Lions lost Ben Johnson. We know that, and we know that's probably going to be a huge factor. But I mean, like, they're still loaded on offense. I mean, you've got Jahmyr Gibbs, you've got Sam Laporta. Like, Amon-Ra St. Brown has absolutely been a thorn in the Packers side ever since he came into the league. Jameson Williams, like, they have burners on that side of the ball. And again, we were just talking about the Packers can counter that with the guys they have on defense, but this is one of those, if you make mistakes, like, they will be able to take advantage. Like, they can strike very quickly just like the Packers can as well. And
Mhm.
it's really, to me, it's really a matter of, which side is that, like, can the Packers defense neutralize enough, right? You don't want to don't go out there and let Amon-Ra St. Brown have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, right?
Mhm.
But then you're also, but then you have to give more attention to a Jameson Williams, who's an extremely fast receiver, and he's he's not just a deep threat, like he can do it all, but he's a burner. And then so I don't think this is a type of game where you're expecting a shootout necessarily, because we've talked about both these teams have pretty good defenses, but there could be fireworks in this game, absolutely.
Yeah, there definitely could be some fireworks in this game. And when it's a divisional game too, you never know what to expect quite from
Right.
divisional games. Like the records get thrown out the window. This is week 1, so there ain't no records to throw out anyway.
Right.
But like these games are always so different. Like the passion between these two fan bases, the rivalry, how it's continued to grow now with the Lions, getting some licks back after years and years and years
Yep.
of getting them from the Packers. And even though fierce rivals, they're going head to head week 1, there are some connections between the Packers and the Lions. Dan, would you tell the people the connections that you have found between the Packers? Like maybe there's some former Packer players, some coaches on the opposing sideline this week.
Yeah. I do want to shout out the excellent piece of work that the Packers put out each week, the dope sheet, because this is where I scoured a lot of this information from. So like to take, like Camille said, take a look and see each week where the Packers have these little hidden connections. 3 that I found this week for us. Lions quarterback coach, Mark Brunell. You might remember as former 5th round Packers draft pick, Mark Brunell.
Mhm.
One of the parade of perennial backup quarterbacks to Brett Favre. Lions head equipment manager Tim O'Neill was the former equipment assistant in Green Bay not too long ago. Also, he is Packers linebacker coach Sean Duggan's uncle, so a little bit of a family connection there as well. And then finally, Lions personnel executive John Dorsey, former Packer player and former longtime Packer executive.
Mhm.
I saved John Dorsey for last because I had a small John Dorsey story. I actually got tickets to a Packer game from John Dorsey himself.
Okay,
Really?
let me hear this.
It was actually it was the Super Bowl year. It was the year of the Super Bowl. It was the week 1 season opener against the Bills. We got tickets from John Dorsey.
How?
So like I said, we tailgate every single year, and we show up on Friday. And this was back when what is now like all the Tundra area was Kmart.
Oh, Titletown, yeah.
Titletown, yeah.
Yeah, with all Titletown and everything. It was Kmart and everything like that. So we would tailgate in the Kmart parking lot on Friday and all weekend, and we would put out a big sign that we were looking for tickets because this was obviously still when you had like paper tickets.
Yeah.
John Dorsey came over at lunch on his Friday lunch break and was like, "Hey, like I saw you guys here. Is like, you guys are insane sitting out here on a Friday. Like everyone's driving, everyone's at work, and you guys are sitting out here drinking beer in a kiddie pool on Friday. Like, I can get you guys some tickets. I have a connection
Awesome.
to the team." And that's when we found out
I know a guy. It's me.
Right, I'm the guy. It's me. I'm talking about myself.
Well, he was because he told us, he's like, "Well, I work for the Packers," and I was like, "Well, what do you do?" He's like, "Well, I find the players," and then we looked him up, and he was like the head of college scouting or something. Like, oh, so he works with Ted Thompson like every single day.
That's
you
amazing.
really do go find the players. You really do find them.
You literally just go find the players. Yeah,
that's pretty tight though. That's one of them stories that you guys gotta make sure you write that one down, pass it to the kids so they can pass it down to like.
Those are tickets. Did you keep those tickets?
Oh, I still have my I still have my ticket. Yeah.
Good.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Okay. One thing that we discuss doing on this show weekly is putting some bets out there. Now, not your traditional bets that you might hear of like what you might see on a Prize Picks or whatever website that you might use to enhance your football watching experience, one could say. We want to go a little bit off the book. Some bets you couldn't find in the sporting book, but bets that Packers fans might be interested in. So, Dan, why don't we actually start with you? What's your bet this week for the Packers Lions game?
Yeah, my bet is, are we going to see at least one Micah Parsons crowd pump up video?
Oh, like the
Sunday?
Lambeau
Oh,
Jumbotron,
yeah.
like the
No
Like
question.
has he been like, have they been able to find, like, I cringe at the thought of being like the video assistant, like tapping Micah Parsons on the shoulder, like, excuse me, Mr. Parsons, like, I know that you've got like back therapy and team meetings and everything, but will you come here and say Packers country, let's ride a couple of times for us? Like,
You know they've already filmed the Jumbotron like highlight packages
oh
for
yeah,
him because
we'll see. Okay, highlight package, yes, but I'm talking like, do they have a, like,
him in uniform.
it's third down, it's him saying, like, it's Micah Parsons saying, like,
Oh,
come
yeah.
on, Lambeau, like, let's get loud. Have they crafted that yet?
I
They've had-
absolutely think they've had that done already.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think they've had to. So my bet, I mentioned this a couple years ago when me and Aaron Nagler were doing Carry the G and MKE on Cheesehead TV. And I was like, I'm noticing a lot of these young guys aren't Lambeau leaping as much as they used to.
You're right.
Like it just hasn't been, the leap ain't been leaping the way that it used to leap. So my bet is the over under on Lambeau leaps. Do we 1.5 over under on Lambeau leaps in this game? Because that also, you need a touchdown to get them leaps. So the Packers gonna get at least 14. So that's also kind of a cheat of like kind of gauge you before we get to the predictions of where you think the score is going to be. But I'm doing the over under on Lambeau leaps. I'm setting it at 1.5 in the home opener against a divisional rival.
I'm going over.
Mm.
I'm
The
going over
excitement of
just
that first game, does everybody wants to leap?
well, yeah, I mean just because A is first game, but B, like we talked about at the outset, they've never opened at home under Matt LaFleur yet, which means nobody on this team has had a home opener week 1
Yeah.
at all.
It's crazy to
So
think about.
they're already juiced up for that. It's going to be super hype. Like you said, a lot of these it's a very young team. Like these young guys are going to be hyped up. I think everyone that scores has a Lambeau leap.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, I think it depends on how the flow of this game is going. If the Packers come out and punch the Lions in the mouth early,
Mhm.
if they get like a quick 3 and out, big strike early, yeah, I think they're going to start. I think they're going to start showing them up. I think that's a possibility, at least early on. So yeah, give me a couple of Lambeau leaps on Sunday.
I love that. Monty, what's your bet?
All right, so I already kind of talked about this, but over under 4.5 fourth down attempts by the Lions.
Ooh, you said 4.5?
4.5.
God, at least 5 drives where they go for it. I'm gonna go the under on that. I'm gonna go the
You're going
under.
under?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna go under 2 because I think
Okay.
that was all Ben Johnson.
All right, if you're both, oh, you think it was more of a Ben Johnson thing than a Dan Campbell thing?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so if you're both going under, I'll change it then. I'll make it a little more difficult. 3.5.
I'm still taking the under.
You're still going under?
I'm a little
Yeah.
closer on that one. I'm a
Because
little
to me,
closer on that.
four feels right. Like it feels
Four-
like you would do it 4 times.
We're getting close to the ballpark. I'm more inclined to take that over than 4.5, but
I'm gonna go over at 3.5.
I think I will take that over at that rate. I
Okay.
think I'll go with that over. Okay. Well, let's wrap up with some predictions here. Some score predictions. Who you got in this game? Dan, let's start with you.
For my own sanity, I have to pick the Packers over the Lions. I cringe to think of a world going back to riding the train back to Green Bay or back to Detroit with a loss under my belt. So I'll say the Packers. I think it's still going to stay a little bit close. I'm going to say 27-20 Packers.
Okay. Monty, what about you?
So Well, one thing we didn't talk about, which is going to factor into how I think this game is going to go, as we're recording this on Wednesday, we don't know, like, for like Jaden Reed and Elton Jenkins are both kind of on the
Mhm.
Right.
fence for this game. If to me, I don't know, Reed feels like a stretch to play. I know there's, he might have a Jones fracture in his foot, which is
Yeah.
crazy because I can't imagine playing with that. So that's like a whole other thing. We'll see how that plays out in the next couple of weeks. But if Elton Jenkins doesn't go,
Yeah.
that just kind of changes things so much, right? Because they built their entire offensive line revamp around him playing center. And it could have been a vet rest day for him today. We don't really know exactly. But again, this is week one. Like Dan said, I'm not picking the Packers to lose their home opener,
I know that's right.
their season opener for the first time in the Matt LaFleur era. They got Micah Parsons. Like, there's no way in hell would I pick the Packers to lose this game. I'm going to go 24-22.
Ooh, we are so close because I was thinking
What?
24-21 for my final score prediction. I think
It's
it comes down to a field
it's
goal at the end.
it's going to be annoyingly close. Again, like, the Lions are a very good team. Like, this isn't like, we can't write them off just because they lost their coordinators. Like, they're still loaded with talent. Like, and they always bring it against the Packers. I think it's going to be a very close game, but I'm going 24-22, and I think, what the hell, I'll say it's a walk-off field goal from Brandon McManis.
See,
in
we're
this
we're
one.
we're on the same page here, Monty. That's what I was thinking. A field goal for the win for the Packers, 24-21 is my and of course, like you mentioned, we are recording this early. There are still a few more days to really break down this matchup, see how the injury report shakes out. So make sure that you guys are staying tuned into Cheesehead TV for all of the breakdowns heading into the week one matchup at Lambeau Field against the Detroit Lions. And that feels like a great place to wrap up for the week. We will be back, of course, next week with another episode of Ahead of the Pack. But before we get out of here, guys, tell the people where they can find you outside of Ahead of the Pack here weekly on Cheesehead TV.
You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at Ferd Turgeson, FERDTURGESON. And obviously, you can catch all three of us on Mondays, actually, for the wrap up of the game on Pack-A-Day.
Yeah, exactly like Monty said on Pack-A-Day on Mondays. You can also catch me, Jimmy Christensen, and Todd Varney over on Lombardi's Bar Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, live on our YouTube channel. And then on social media, mostly over on Blue Sky at Dan Mano.
Yeah, Pack-A-Day has already been mentioned. I will be also doing some like instant post games on the Pack-A-Day YouTube side of things throughout the season. We have Ahead of the Pack. I'm still doing Locked On Bucks. If you kind of want to dip your toes into that basketball water while you're still reveling in the joy of Micah Parsons and the Packers season starting, but also on Twitter, on Blue Sky, Instagram at Camille Monet, CAMILOEMONAE. And we thank you for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. And as always, go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.